Hey guys, so I'm going to be doing a video response actually to a video that Piper did, I believe earlier today, or at least she put it up earlier today, called Religiously Different, Spiritually the Same. I thought this was a really awesome video topic, and I kind of have some stuff that I thought I would share some of the things she was kind of talking about that I do with my fiance, because we're obviously not of the same spirituality. Neither is myself and my family, nor myself and my other housemate. And I kind of wanted to talk about, I just had sort of a really fun experience, I guess we'd call it fun, living in a house with 7 people 2 years ago, and I don't think anybody had the same religious belief in the house except like 2 people. So I thought I would share with you some stuff about me and sort of how I've dealt with things like that, and talk a little bit about, after that, about how me and my fiance do stuff. So I will start with the housemates thing. We had a big house, like good size house, across town. We lived there together for 2 years. When I say together, I mean there were 7 of us in the same house for 2 years. It was really interesting because there was myself, and I'm pagan. My fiance is like a Church of Christ Mormon. I don't know how else to explain that, so he's that. My friend Ariel, I think she's just kind of non-denominationally Christian. My friend Kate is an atheist. The 2 other boys that lived in the house with us that shared a room together were Baptist. And then the other guy who lived across the house was set up really weird. Like, we were all on one side of the house except one guy. He lived, what am I talking about? He believed, I would almost say he doesn't have a religion other than to say that he's Christian, because sort of what he believed in at the time was entirely based around the girl he was trying to date. And I'm not kidding. Like, he was very open and friendly about all kinds of stuff and was just interested about a lot of things in general, but he kind of changed his mind frequently, so. And then at one point we had another guy who was living in his room who was a Quaker. So I've lived with all kinds of people who believed in different stuff, and we lived with a guy who was Vietnamese too for a semester, and I actually have no idea what his religious beliefs were. They never came up. He like really isolated himself in our house and like just didn't really associate with people, so I don't even know what he believed. However, as you can tell, with a lots of like very different like Christian beliefs, and then complete opposite end of the spectrum beliefs, and then like no beliefs, we had a really unique house, especially around like holidays. Interestingly enough, we never had any problems. No one ever got into a fight. I never had to hide what my beliefs were, and I made a point to myself like I wasn't going to do that, but I didn't throw them in people's face. Like, I kept all of my stuff in my room and away from everyone else, and if people didn't like it or weren't comfortable with it, they just didn't have to go in my room. The only thing that I really did outside of the house was, like, almost every night for like a whole semester, I watched like 3 or 4 videos done by Charming Pixie Flora while I ate dinner on my laptop in the kitchen. So, and that was usually, there's a lot of people circling in and out of the kitchen at that time, so people would kind of see what I was doing. The 2 Baptist guys, I think, thought I was crazy, but they were nice and they never said that. I don't think were really super excited about most of the stuff I did, but they didn't ever bring it up, ever. They just kind of left it alone, which was awesome. I never brought up anything with them, and I never tried to push anything at all. The 2 girls that lived in the house with me, they're both going to be bridesmaids at my wedding, so we're obviously close. They didn't agree with any of my beliefs necessarily, but like Kate in particular, she's atheist, and she thought it was really fun every once in a while. Like, she would come in my room and just be like, "Hey, can you do like a tarot reading for me? Hey, can we like make God's eyes together?" Like, she just wanted to be a part of things every once in a while, and it wasn't necessarily spiritual with her. It was just she wanted to learn about something that I liked, which is what reminded me of this in Piper's video, talking about trying to do things with people even if you don't necessarily believe or agree with what they're doing, even just to learn more about them. And Kate definitely did that. She was very awesome about trying to be involved in other people's stuff, which I think is really lucky for me to have a friend like that. The only time we ever had any problems in our house as far as religion went was, I remember one big fight between the two Baptist guys in their room. Like, they shared a room, Kate and Ariel shared a room, me and my fiance shared a room. They were fighting amongst themselves about Bible verses, and I mean, they were having like a shouting, screaming match, but they never fought with anybody else. So that's my story of trying to deal and live with and do things with other people. I just kind of, my advice to anyone in that kind of situation is, don't be pushy. Even if you want to do things and if you're proud of stuff and you're excited, recognize that other people might not feel the same way as you, and keep things to yourself unless somebody else brings it up. And be respectful. Even when you don't agree with stuff people are doing. Those two guys didn't agree with most of the stuff I was doing, but they were respectful enough to keep it to themselves. That's awesome. I think that's basically that's all you can really ask for, is for people to be respectful. So that's how I feel about that. As far as me and my fiance go, the two of us, we've always known we did not have the same religious beliefs, like before we were even dating. So this was not like some big thing that we had to work through at some point or anything like that. He, ever since college, because we started dating in high school actually, but ever since college, he's gotten more skeptical of a lot of the things he was raised believing, and is more open to spiritual ideas rather than religious ideas, which I think makes him and I really, really awesome for each other right now, because even though we may not go about things in the same way, we both understand that what the other person is doing works for them, and that's the important part. So I've been to church with him many times, especially when we first started dating and we were where his church is. There isn't one here, so we can't go. But I was totally fine with going with him. Like every couple of weeks even, I would show up, and a lot of it was I just wanted to meet the people that were important to him. There's a lot of family and stuff tied into that, so I feel like if you want to get to know somebody, get to know the people that they respect and value their opinion and that kind of thing. Like, why would you not try and go to somewhere where they're all going to be? That's what I did. And it's also really nice, like, to learn, because he has a very specific brand of Christianity that isn't really common, I would say. So it can be really hard to learn, like just looking things up or reading a book. Like, you're not going to be exposed to that a whole lot. So for me, it was really good to actually insert myself in that to learn more about it. And I have actually right here, I have like all these little pamphlets that they have. I have a bunch of these that they have like in the basement of their church that you can just grab, and it's like stuff that you might not know about or have questions about that has to do with their specific religion. They just have these. It's awesome. You can just grab it, and if you're like, what the heck does he think about this? Pull one of these out. It's super cool. So I don't necessarily have that for him, regrettably, but I got that for me, so that's great. Him and I, because he's not where there is a church and stuff right now, his spirituality, I think, is less important, not less important to him, but less a part of his life right now than mine is, perhaps, because I don't necessarily have to be in a certain place to do stuff for mine. And he's done things with me before. We've done circles together before. We went and did an S-Bot one time at the local park. It was really, really pretty up there, too. It was really nice. But we've done that before together. I make a lot of, like, crafts and foods and stuff for the Sabbats. Like, that's like the number one way I celebrate. Like, I decorate and I make food. That's just me. So, he helps me with stuff like that a lot. Like, we've made, again, I feel like I'm just keep pulling stuff from the corner over here next to my desk. We've made lots of these. I like making God's eyes, and I really like taking the colors of the specific, like, Sabbat that's, like, coming up and making ones that have those colors in them and hanging them. So I do that fairly regularly, and he's made those with me before. He's done, like, divination stuff with me before. We have, like, a lot of really long, deep conversations about things, and it used to really frustrate me for a long time when we first started dating, because he was not being mean by any means, but he was so used to talking about religion from a Christian perspective that it was really hard for us to have conversations sometimes that didn't just deviate into discussions about Christianity. And I was raised Catholic, so I can talk about those things too. But it's not really anything I even believe in. It's mostly just like debating things so he can sort of work through his own beliefs, which is fun. But it was frustrating because I felt like I didn't have anybody to do that with. And the longer we've been together and the more he's learned, that's not an issue really at all anymore. Like, very rarely does he ever say anything to me like, I don't understand this. Like, can you explain this to me? Because I just don't know. Like, he has a pretty good understanding of most things. Um, so, as far as our celebrating stuff together and doing things like that together, we don't really do like any kind of devotional things together or anything like that. I make a point, and I force this, no matter what. I will go outside at least once a day, and I try really hard to take him with me, and we go and we sit on our back, like little, it's not really a deck and it's not really a porch, I don't know what to call it, but it's one of those types of things. We go out there and we sit and we talk for a while. Sometimes we're just stupid and we're not talking about anything in particular. Sometimes we have really deep conversations while we're out there. But I really like to go out there in the evenings so I can see all the stars and the moon. Or like sunset is also really awesome, but I make a point of doing that every single day. And the reason I do that is because for me, it's religious. It's spiritual. I want to connect to the outdoors at least once a day. That has nothing to do with school. Like, I walk between classes, obviously. I'm all over campus, but for me, that isn't a moment where I can be spiritual. I'm too worried about, like, oh my gosh, I gotta get to the next class, or I've got this assignment, or I just got a test back. Like, I'm in freakout mode all the time. So, I make a major point to spend a little time out there being in nature and just enjoying it, and enjoying it with the person I love and care about. I don't know that he sees that as spiritual at all, but he's totally willing to do it with me. That's the important part to me. I don't really know that he has anything in particular spiritually that he does for himself right now. I feel like he's sort of in limbo, maybe, as far as his beliefs go. So I can't really say that, like, we do anything for just him, other than, like, during holidays and stuff. Like, when we're back, sometimes I'll go to, like, Christmas Eve, you wouldn't call it mass, service, Christmas Eve service at his church or something like that. But it's really rare that those kind of things happen because we're never back where he's from, where we're from, rather. So I guess that's just kind of my little story, my take on living with other people. Oh, I guess I could also talk about dealing with my parents and how we all function in a household together. My whole family's Catholic. My dad and my brother got confirmed within like the last year and a half, I think. Like, it hasn't been that long. Maybe 2 years. I don't know. It's been pretty recently, though. And I have been pagan since I was like 12 years old. But I don't think everyone was really aware of that or what that meant to me. And when we talk or when we pray or when we do anything, it was always in a Catholic context. Just because I didn't want to push the issue by any means. I didn't want to make my family uncomfortable. And I was fine with doing what we were doing because I still see it in much the same light now as I would have prior to paganism. Like, I know that might not make sense, but I do. So, the only thing that is sort of different now, we're the family that gets around a TV and watches all kinds of ghost shows. Like, if you have not noticed this yet, I'm a huge paranormal enthusiast. Like, if I had the ability right now, I would totally, totally make that my living. Like, investigating and researching and helping people and all kinds of stuff like that. But that's not going to earn me any money, so I don't do that. My whole family likes that kind of thing, though. Everybody. So we frequently like to sit around and watch shows like Ghost Adventure is a big one now. We used to watch Ghost Hunters for a long time, but we kind of burnt out on that one. Paranormal State, Dead Files. My mom and my brother really like Destination Truth, and I just not so much into that. But we like to watch the shows, and then we will frequently pause them because we have the awesome recorded stuff. And we all talk about it and debate it and look into sort of what could be going on and the belief systems of the family and how that could be contributing and all kinds of things. And it used to be in a especially when my dad and my brother had just gotten confirmed, sort of your born again Christian type phase where you're just really enthusiastic about it. So everything was in light of Catholicism. And that was fine. But it's gotten to where now my dad, because I sent him that book, and he has a friend that he's working with whose house, they're having some really strange things happen. Some people have seen stuff. There's a small child there, and they're really afraid that something's gonna hurt the baby. The first thing my dad did was want to talk to me and my mom, because that's what we do. And my brother does too, but my brother has recently not been able to participate as much as he might like to. So, I feel really good that even though my dad knows that we don't have the same belief system, I come at things from a very different angle. He's very aware of that now. He still trusts in my ability to analyze these things and provide the proper guidance maybe for what these people are supposed to be doing. And that's, I don't know if, probably I'm not the best person to ask, because obviously I don't have as much experience as other people, but I've been interested in this even before I was interested in Wicca and paganism. Like, this is my whole life. I've been absolutely in love with that. So, in my family, when we want to spend time together and take part in each other's belief systems, we watch paranormal stuff on TV. That might be totally out of the norm, but that's how our family sort of brings together different spiritual ideas. So, that's how we work, I guess. And I just really, really like this topic, so I was super excited when I saw that video. I was like, yes, I want to talk about that. So, I'm sorry if I bored anyone to tears, but now you know a little bit more about, I guess, how I operate spiritually with and around the other people in my life and have for years. So, thanks for watching.